Here we go. Stuff. It looks I'm a little bit late, doesn't it? I'm not late because it's not 8 o'clock yet. Can someone just do a quick picture sound check for me, just to give me feedback that what you're getting and seeing is all good? Gonna have to catch up with all these, aren't I? All good then. Okay then guys, evening all. Thanks for joining. Just want, is that a bit bright? I might have to turn that off. So quickly blast through some of these. We got Jamie Wills, Daniel Roberts, Nick Mann. Hi Nick, you alright buddy? Gav McNamara, McNamara. Lucky Vapes, Wayne Swatton, Alan Evans. Evening Alan. Let's have a quick look at Andy Scott. Right, yeah, so sorry, I did say I'd do the draw at 8 o'clock. It's 5:02 by my clock. But yeah, quickly jump in. I've got a couple of little parish notices, a few little bits and pieces to discuss first, and then we'll get straight in. Everything's loaded onto the tablet, onto the confuser, and we're good to go. Just catching up with all you guys. Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Launch some facilities. Okay, right. So before I get into any questions, and I'm sure you've got loads of questions, everyone's got loads of questions they want to ask usually. Just to say a big thank you. We hit what to me personally is quite a milestone this weekend. 101,000 views. Now I know people go on about subscription and likes and shares and all that kind of stuff, but it blows me away to think that people have looked at what's on this channel over 100,000 times. Even saying that out loud, I mean, I'm not trying to be humble, I'm genuinely blown away by it. It is, for me, it's an amazing thing. So I'd just like to thank you all, really. People obviously subscribe, they like, they share, they talk about things. I've met people in some really, I'm not going to make a joke out of it, random places. I've met people and I've had encounters with people where it's caught me slightly off guard. So I've had a couple of occasions where people have been talking to me and I've been a little bit taken back because I didn't know who they were, but they were talking like they knew me. And it was only afterwards I realised they knew me via the channel. So if I've come across, and this is because I can speak to everyone, if I've come across as rude or slightly ignorant or a little bit bewildered, if I truly genuinely haven't met you before, at least let me know where you know me from, because it's quite strange when someone starts talking to you. They're keen to talk and chat, and I'm happy to chat, but I didn't know where I knew them from, and I was racking my brains thinking I'd forgotten. You know, like, not very good with faces and names and stuff. But yeah, genuinely, it was subscribers or people that had seen me on the channel, and it just took me by surprise. I'm just going to have a quick check to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so I don't want to dwell on it. I know numbers bore people, but for me personally, it's a big thank you. 101 views on the channel. That just to me is an amazing number. And we're doing different things. So I don't know if you've noticed, I've lost count. Is it 4, 5, 6 videos this week? I know there was a drought, and I was genuinely a very busy beaver. I was doing stuff, life takes over sometimes, but I've had a week off work and I've just gone fishing crazy. Been out in the boat, you haven't seen that yet. Been to Chesil, you haven't seen that yet. I've done more work on the van and you haven't seen that yet, as well as some local marks. So there's loads of stuff coming through, and I just need a little bit of time to catch up, and I'll keep pumping out the videos as long as they're interesting. As long as they're interesting to me as well, because part of this is it's what interests me is what I share with other people. And I think if things like the Bagnall Bar, so I've started to comment a little bit about the Bagnall Bar, do a video specifically on the Bagnall Bar, that is really interesting to me. It's an amazing little bit of kit. I think it's highly underrated, and I think it needs sharing a little bit. More people that try it, look at it, play with it, I think some people might learn to really truly love it. I don't think it's had the appreciation. I've looked online, I've looked at other YouTube videos, but I don't want to dwell too much on specifics. So Darren, sweet talking, honey potions into my ears. Yay, wonderful channel. Fishing wagon. Okay, so I knew there might be a couple of bits and pieces about the fishing wagon. Yeah, so it is time and money. I haven't just got loads of money that I'm just going to throw at it. I want to keep it real. I could take some savings out. I could do something, you know, I could sell something or you know, club together some money and just blow it on the fishing wagon. But that would take some of the fun out of it. And I just think if I keep it real, where this month I can afford to buy this, or this month I can do, it is structured. I know what I want to do. I've done van conversions before, albeit every single one's different. I've never done a utility van before, one that's designed not solely for camping, so there's a little bit extra different that's going on. So yeah, fishing wagon. Really pleased with how the flooring came out. I'm just looking at that light. That light's not too good, is it? So really pleased with how the floorings came out. The fact that made that, I think, is Outro flooring, and if you've never seen it or come across it, I challenge you to try and cut it. It's really difficult. If he seems bewildered, it's only the rum. No, it's not, Alan. I'll tell you what this is. In the immortal words of Al Murray, this is a fruit-based beverage designed for children. Because I'm on earlies tomorrow. I've had a week off work. I'm back tomorrow morning, and it's a rude awakening tomorrow morning. I've got to get up early. So there's no alcohol in me today. But everyone else seems to think that's funny. From a windy, right, Steve Newell, from a windy Eastney beach. I like Eastney. Both me and Stu, Sweet Corn Kid, we fish there quite regularly. And Stu's quite predictable, because I say to him, Stu, are we fishing Eastney Beach tonight? He's like, yeah, let's go to Eastney Beach. Where are we going? Don't tell me. In front of the coffee cup. In front of the coffee cup, slightly to the right, that's his spot. It's almost like he's got his own peg there. He's been away for a week carp fishing. Even if you're not a carp fisherman, and I'm not, I've seen some of the pictures of the stuff he's caught. That stuff's going to be interesting. If you want to watch some pond dipping, you know, like little kids with nets and little floats and things, yeah, Stu's going to have a video out on that, I'm sure, very soon. Sam Hughes, just watching your wagon part 2, can't wait to see it finished. It's not going to be immediate, mate. If you think, oh, next week we'll get another one, and a couple of days, they're probably going to be about a month apart. And where I've focused so much on fishing and the van recently, that's where my priorities have been. My workshop ones have sort of gone awry, and I've had some messages from people saying, where's the workshop videos? We like the workshop video. I'm surprised that people like watching me tinkering around in the workshop, but I'm going to do one of those soon. So Gemma Taylor, otherwise known as Lee, you've broken your phone. Did you drop it in the sea? Or good evening, buddy. How are you? Hope you're keeping well. Hope the family's well, and I hope the kiddies are good. Right, so Carl Stokes. Tom is a really nice bloke too. So if anyone doesn't know who that is, it's Tom Bagnall. So Tom Bagnall, I don't know his full credentials. I know he owns and runs the Christchurch Angling Centre. I always make this declaration. I'm not sponsored. I don't sing to anyone else's tune. I do my own thing, and I don't tie myself up with other people's stuff. So I don't accept sponsorships and you know, like gifts and things like that, because purely then that would change my output, if that makes any sense, and I don't want to change it. I want it to be what I do and what I think. But Tom Bagnall, I looked him up because another fishing friend had told me about the Bagnall bar, Stuart Crane. He gave me one of these Bagnall bars and we fished it last week. I was really impressed with it. So I came home, Googled it, looked the fella up, ordered 3 more because I want to do some variations and some comparisons. And it's really impressive. So the guy is, I want to say, a world champion. I don't want to send out wrong messages. He's a competitive angler, shore angler, and he owns and runs a tackle shop. He knows his stuff. And when you look at the Bagnall bar, a genuine one from there, they're amazing. And the components on it are amazing. And I don't understand how they do them for the price that they sell them for. And that is a genuine quote. That I think I paid £1.95 for a Bagnall bar, and the components bought individually must have come to about £1.30 or 40. So it's not even as if they're an inflated price or anything like that. Cole Stokes, flooring looked good. That stuff is like cutting granite. I used both sides of 6 Stanley blades cutting that flooring. You make 2 or 3 cuts and it's dulling, and by the time you check your blade, there's hardly any blade left on it. It even takes the point off the blade. Chris, yeah, thank you very much, buddy. Thanks for asking. I'm all good. Rather than all the other people, thank you very much for joining, fellas. I really appreciate your company. Smash fishing, loving the wagon builds. Smash fishing. A bass in a shrimp net. That was amazing. I thought that was really good. Smith's Angling Adventures, what bike do you have? We've had this question before. I don't mean that to be patronising, but I know some people will roll their eyes. Oh, he's always talking about his bikes. I've got an Africa Twin, which is tucked out the back, and I've got a Husserberg FX 450. The FX is different than the FE. I hear that you had a little bit to, a few beverages to drink last night, young Jay. Drinking on your channel? Influencing the youngsters? Christmas fire rigs. You might not have the rum, but I've and Alan's on the gin. So you're allowed to drink gin as long as it's after 3 o'clock. And you're allowed to start beer at 12. So if you can stage your day throughout, and obviously you finish off with like man's drinks at the end of the evening with, you know, like rum and stuff. Jamie Bennett, new to the channel. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're very much welcome here. Questions, comments all the way through. Use it, because a comment goes on and everyone else gets to see it as well. And there's a whole raft of people that are listening and partaking at the moment that can answer pretty much any comment that comes up. And it's amazing. We've had questions on there that I didn't even know where to start, and within minutes they've been answered by other people. I love that aspect of it. It's very good. A few too many. Feeling a little bit fragile today, are we? What you really need is a good head shake. So if you get one of your friends to grasp your head between your ears and give you a not violent, but just a really good, make you feel a world of better, you'll feel absolutely amazing. See, I'm going to have to watch that on catch up because I didn't see it. And now you've sparked my interest. I'm going to have to go and see it, aren't I? See what you guys have been up to. Line float stoppers. So, Mr. O, thinking of trying line float stoppers. Line float stoppers. I think I know what you mean. So you're talking about the little floating beads that can go on your line to sort of, rather than it being nailed hard to the bottom, you can put like little like 3 or 4 beads to make it wave around in the current, so it lifts it up. We fished the cove end of Portland, Chesil Beach last week. I even had rigs coming back that had been snipped clean through by the spider crabs, and I actually reeled in a couple of spider crabs. I didn't take those floating beads for that fishing session. I sort of weeded my tackle box out, and I knew I had to carry a lot, so I took a lot of stuff out, and one of the things I took out was my floating beads. I wish I'd left them in. I would have tried them for that. Did I check the dinghy launching at Poole? I've been out twice in my boat and I haven't gone any further away than local to me. So Poole is right there on my target before the end of the summer, definitely before the end of next month, to be honest. I'd like to go once or twice because you're never going to get it right first time round. but I fished locally, both the River Hamble and the River Itchen, and Ealing, which is a mark near to where I live, out in my little boat, and I found things that were wrong, things that I hadn't done very well, and I've changed them. So I'm fine-tuning it, and one of the things I've got to fine-tune is how I'm going to mount the camera. So I filmed both sessions handheld, and when I've watched them back on the big screen, they're not actually that good. They're not actually that good. So I haven't put them out yet. I may do, or I may graft some of that footage into other films. But yeah, so I need some kind of gimbal thing for holding my camera, and I've got a motorized one, but it ruins it. It basically ruins it, and it's ruined the footage that I took, which is a shame, because I had surface takes where bass were taking lures on the, and I was almost teasing them. I could see the shadows of the fish following the lure, and even though I had it on camera, the gimbal ruined it. It absolutely ruined it. So yeah, I've looked online at launching the boat from Poole. I haven't gone down there. Okay, so Sean Wiley's asking about hounds at Abbotsbury. So Ian Clark, I don't know if you've ever watched the channel Ian Clark. He does quite regular. He does Bristol Channel and Chesil Beach, and I'm a big fan of his stuff. I was talking to him via his channel today, and his latest film is Abbotsbury Way, and I'll describe where. Abbotsbury Way, but multiple hounds. I don't know how many hounds he caught, and he was catching them on rag, lug, squid. Basically, they were catching on everything, and had a nice bass as well. So Ian Clark and his friend Chris. I can't remember what his surname. I don't know if we know what his surname is. But Abbotsbury. If you go to Abbotsbury car park, you will immediately meet the mackerel camp. So there's people permanently camped on the beach fishing for mackerel. You need to get at least half an hour to 40 minutes walk away from those guys. So you will catch nothing near those. But there's so many lines, they're almost whipping the sea into a frenzy. It's pointless. So if you go to the Abbotsbury car park, and instead of going over the shingle, walk along the field line, there's a path, you'll see it, for about half an hour, and you'll come to a mark that everyone calls the Dragon's Teeth. And if you look on satellite view maps, you can see it. Look at the Abbotsbury car park, and if you're looking down with the sea at the bottom and the land at the top, go across, and then these square blocks, and that's what they call the Dragon's Teeth. You need to be there or further east. Don't fish in front of the car park. Pointless exercise. Sorry if I whittled on a little bit there, but that is a genuine heads up. Don't bother right in front of the car park. Just catch up, because obviously I've just been flapping my gums. The Gorilla Pod for your camera. Thank you very much. That's the kind of information that I need. I will check that out. I've decided your catchphrase is flippy floppy right. I know hooks are annoying. I know all that kind of stuff, but it makes me laugh. I'm holding a fish sometimes, and I can hear it in my head before I say it. Sometimes you might see me smirk. It's because I can hear it in my head. It makes me laugh, which is why I say it. Yeah, sorry for that. It was never deliberate. It was never an intentional thing. It just, once it started, it makes me laugh, and I can't help myself. I haven't got Tourette's, but I think that might be close. Scott Harris, evening Scott. Nice to see you join us, buddy. Where do you ride, Matt, without taking this away from the fishing? I ride also. So Doug Reeves, so where do I ride? All over Europe. All over Europe, UK. What do? I do long distance adventure style riding, so I'm very lucky to have Salisbury. I'm saying this quickly because I know other people don't want to hear it. I ride Salisbury Plain quite regularly. I take groups of people abroad, and we do France, Belgium and stuff like that, and anything and everything. So I do cross country on a big bike, on an Africa Twin. Crashed it. I broke my foot last year on the Husserberg, which slowed me down a little bit. But yeah, green laning, TRF, all that kind of stuff. So I used to have 1 litre sports bikes and go everywhere dressed like a Power Ranger. I'm getting a little bit old for that now, so I've gone more upright but big off-road traily type bikes. I hope that helps. Ian Clark is really good. You are not wrong. I like watching his videos. He's and he's got away as well. So sorry if I'm just turning away, but I haven't sorted my computer out, and that's going to get annoying. Wayne's saying that he watched the Ian Clark session. Yeah, that was a walk from Abbotsbury. Take your pick, left or right. I'd hazard a guess and say it was left. Ian is always very good to watch. Highly recommended. Ones that I do like, and I'm not trying to say this in any way positive or negative, I can't stand that Inglorious Fishing or that Smash Fishing pair. You know, they're an absolute nightmare. But Ian Clark, Fisho, I don't know if anyone watches Fisho, I'm sure you do. Stu, I like watching Stu's, just Stu Harris, because of his cinematic style. There's loads out there. You know, and you've got Inglorious and Smash and all. I'm not saying the ones that we all know, the big ones, the ones that got them the massive following, because they're doing their thing. When do you hope to visit? Right, Century Fireblades. Century Fireblades, they're on order. And you're going to laugh when I say this. And all the detail on the Fireblades is like a really deep maroon red, which happens to match 525 Mag 3s with the red trim. I'm turning into a tackle tart. But they're on back order. They sold out almost instantly. They sold out, the first batch sold out quite quickly. And I think I'm quite high up in the list of when the next lot come out. I've waited almost 2 weeks now, so I'm hoping they won't be long. Really excited, because I've not put the multipliers on anything else. I could put them on another rod and go and had a chuck down at the beach, excuse me, but I've deliberately abstained. Abstinence makes the heart fonder. I've deliberately abstained. I want a flippy floppy tail t-shirt. I've been trying to get exactly that. So if anyone can help me with t-shirt merch, I want a flippy floppy tail t-shirt. Seriously, if anyone can point me in the right direction, message me, email me, Facebook, Instagram, here. And I need some help. I'd like good quality t-shirts with a flippy floppy tail on it. Yeah, I couldn't quite weave flippy floppy tail into doing a floor on a van, but I see what you're saying. Martin Browning, good evening, buddy. Jibby jabbering. Left in an hour walk. Yeah, to be honest, I think if you're going to Abbotsbury, you go left, stay the low side of the shingle, walk along as far as you can along the field, and you know you need to go at least half an hour, and like someone else has already quoted, probably half an hour to an hour. And then you'll get to virgin ground where the masses aren't, and it's almost like that work to get there. I can't guarantee it, you know, there's no guarantees in fishing, but that will put you in a much better position, and I'm fairly confident that's where Ian was. Darren Hill, just looking at Dragon's Teeth. Yeah, seriously, if you go in, I think if you put the effort in, the effort will pay back. Cheers and walking boots on then. Top tip though, don't go up and over the shingle, don't walk on the shingle, stay on the path that's behind the shingle, and when you get to the Dragon's Teeth, then cross up and over. But walking boots isn't a bad idea, and travel light, and a sledge. People use sledges at Chisel. The first time I saw that, I couldn't believe it. So they got like those little kiddie sledges and they load all the gear onto it. The only thing is, if it does tip over, then it's a bit of a nightmare. Company called Print Bismarck. Right, so obviously you've put that down there. I can use this as a reference because the comments stay. So Carl Stokes, thank you very much, mate. Right, so we sort of come to the end of the questions, the bit everyone's waiting for, and I didn't deliberately hang this out. I just got distracted. So anyone that hasn't seen one of these drawers before, I'm just going to shut that window. For anyone that hasn't seen one of these drawers before, I don't ask you to jump through hoops. All I ask is that you be a subscriber and you type win in the comments. Jasper the Fishing Hound's just come up. Hello, buddy. You all right? Hey, you going to come up? Come on. Hello. Look who's that. Sorry, getting distracted. Yeah, so ask to be a subscriber and that you quote win in the comments. And the only reason why that is so that it gives the computer something to search for. And I use a software package that's free online. I've got no input into it at all. So I've put the URL in, filtered for users, and specific text, and it will get. There are 91 entries for this draw. Okay, so it's pretty good odds. You've got a 1 in 91 chance of winning. And then all it asks for me to do now, and I'll put this on camera so you can see. So I've put all the other details in. That's the bit that I've just done all the details, and it's all been preloaded. Just to refresh it, it will look and it says there are 91 entries. And then we go down to the start button, and I'll do this live on the camera, and it will start searching through all the entries. And it's popped up, and the winner is Gary Charlton. Just put that up close to the camera in case you can pick that up. I don't know if you can, but I'll screenshot this anyway, just to make sure we get it. So Gary Charlton is the winner. If you'd like to contact me via Facebook, Instagram, or you can email me directly. We need to make contact because I need your details. I'll do another draw while we're on the camera now. So I'll do it once more, and it gives me the option to pick another one. In case Gary Charlton doesn't contact me at all, or we have no contact, someone will win the IMAX shelter. So I'll pick a second just in case. And it's thinking about it. And it's picked another winner, and it is, and I'm struggling to pronounce this, Anthony Lush. I'll screenshot that because I really can't pronounce that. Okay, so that is the winner and the second. And we'll just have a quick check to make sure we've got everything here before we, I'm sure people will want to disperse and do their own bits and pieces. Let's have a quick look. So, yeah, Gary Charlton. Congratulations, buddy. You have won yourself an IMAX beach shelter. I'll get your details from you, and it will come direct from a supplier. So Adam Murtak won last month, and he got his within 3 or 4 days, and it come direct from, I think I ordered his through Veals. I'll use someone like Veals or Jerry's. But yeah, give me your details. We'll make contact. I'll order it, and I'll get it shipped direct to you. Congratulations, well done. It's good stuff, isn't it? Free. So let's just have a quick look. Okay, yeah, so have you ever played with new reels? Well, new reels, haven't touched them. Deliberately, like I said earlier, I've abstained until the rods arrived, and then they'll go on the rods, and then I'll go and have a chuck and a throw. Just a quick tip you may already know, I've been setting my hooks for a while now. Gary, can you just sort of elaborate on that? When you say setting, are you like reeling into, lifting or striking into your fish? I think that's what you mean. So congratulations to Gary, well done. Lows. Chris Chappell, the missus won't be happy, you're going to have to buy one now. That's funny, because that's exactly the kind of thing that I would have said. Scott, you just bought one. You should have waited. You should have waited at least to see if you had actually won one, because you wouldn't have wanted two, would you? Excuse me for a minute. But yeah, Gary's a lucky boy. I wish I won something. Oh, I think he means sharpening. Neil, so if you mean sharpening, and I don't mean this with any disrespect either, I tend, if I'm especially, if, well, shingle or sand, it makes no difference. I don't like using my hooks twice. That's not, no snobbery involved in that, but you know, when you're bringing, I tend to leave my hooks very proud of my bait, and when you're dragging your stuff back in, you know, and rebaiting, and at the end of that fishing session, I think your point of your hook has had an absolute battering. But when they come factory sharp, I find that hard to replicate by sharpening yourself. If you use a little sharpening stone, I think that's more relevant when you go to the bigger meat hooks. If you're fishing for big species, you know, like 10 O's and above, I can understand you won't just be, but 1O, 2O, 3O, I tend to only use them once, and I don't want to sound wasteful or wistful even, but I rarely use, I have, don't get me wrong, and you check everything, but I'm reluctant to use hooks twice that have been, especially on a long session, 6 to 8 hours, those hooks have taken a right old battering. Did I check those Google Earth numbers from Andy Scott? I didn't. You just reminded me. My brain's like a sieve. I've got a job to remember my own name sometimes, let alone the set of numbers you give me. But I know you did, and I will check them out. I was having a good look at mine though at Shoreham. Yeah, well done Gary, offsetting the hook. So I've got a couple of little things I just want to check to see if anyone's still with me. I know the draw's on now, but if people are still here and they want to have a chat, so we mentioned the 100,000 views, locations. So I'm still open to suggestions for locations. I don't know if you've noticed, if you go back through the last dozen fishing venues, apart from getting lured back to Eastney by Stu every time, I fished loads of venues lately. Bracklesham Bay, I'm definitely going to give that one another go. Shoreham, I'm definitely going to give that one another go. Really enjoyed that one. Just, the weed was horrendous. We got absolutely, and the tackle was taking a right kicking. And trying to strip weed off your line on the shoreline, it just got too much. Where else have we been? Portland End, the Cove End of Chesil. So I will be going back to Abbotsbury. I will be going back to West Bexington. When I say that, they're the focal points where you park and then you go to where you're going to go. But the Cove End, which is if you follow the road along Chesil, parallel to Chesil, right down towards Portland, just as all the stuff happens and it all splits and changes, there's some good deep water there as well, so I'm quite keen to try that. We've mentioned Tom Bagnall, the Sib, the Van, subs like shares, it's locations. So yeah, the one thing that I did want to talk about was locations. So I've had invites to fish different areas. I'd still like to fish Oban, and we've got an invite for Oban and rough plans in place for when we are and when it is allowed and respectful to do so. Wales, North Wales, some cliff rock type fishing as well. Cornwall, Devon, Dorset. We haven't gone as far as Kent yet. We haven't gone towards Norfolk. I've got ideas of what I'd like to do. I'd like to meet up with the Water's Edge guys on the Water's Edge, because I do like that channel. If you haven't tried or looked at On the Water's Edge, those guys, I really do like watching their stuff. There's people around the country, and one of my friends is about to move northeast. And, you know, we're in the throes of summer. We've got the autumn and winter to look forward to. He's going to be moving to the northeast fairly soon, and there's cod fishing up that way, isn't there? So I've got all the points on the map marked out, all the places I'd like to go. I'd love to see if Gary was actually watching so he could comment back. It's just catching up. I did have someone comment that I shouldn't look down, because then you're just looking at my shiny head. Alan says about only using them for one session. It sounds wistful and wasteful, doesn't it? But I can't replicate that sharpness, you know, that chemical pointed sharpness that you get from a fresh hook. Okay, so it's clamp across, gap of hook. Just reading that, sorry. To point as at an angle to the point. Okay, so I think we're putting a kink in the so if you've got the hook shape and it comes down and up to the little point with the barb, you twisting that slightly at an angle so it's not all in a straight line. Because I use bait holder hooks that already have that in them. And I like those for flatfish species, sole, flounder, all that kind of stuff, because it tends to, some fish will take the bait in and almost spit it back out again. And if the hook's got that little crank to it, they suck it in, and if they try to blow it back out, it does catch. And you can tell quite often lightly hooked, lip hooked fish with that kind of hook arrangement. Pete Mosley, you're welcome to come up to the Bristol channel. I'd love to. I really, it's very quickly rising to the top of my list. I've spoken to a few people about it already. I really want to fish. So the places I know of, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm closing my eyes because I've got to try and. We stayed up that way, and was it Breen Beach, a sand beach that you could drive on. And I've seen, I think it was Ian Clark actually, I think he fishes along that side and that area of the Bristol Channel. I'd love to fish up that way. Lynx on 60 frames per second, hello. Hello Lynx. You're welcome to come, but yeah, I'd love to. You mean Ferry Bridge, Mark? So Ferry Bridge, is that the bit where you've got to get a little boat to get across, and some people take inflatables to get all their kit across? I know that where the Dragon's Teeth are is the start of that backwater, isn't it? And if you carry on a bit further across, then you have to cross over. You're quite right. If you was to go about 35 minutes trudge, you get to the Dragon's Teeth. If you want to do 40 minutes to an hour, you could just go across Ferry Bridge. I think that's roughly right. Chesil Cove is where the Weymouth Portland locals fish. I think it's highly underrated. A lot of people focus, you know, like West Bexington and Abbotsbury, for obvious reasons. There's car parks there and it can be convenient. And if you've travelled a long way, maybe you don't want to travel a long way and then walk for an hour. But Portland Cove, there's car parks right there, or you can park and then cross over. And I'm surprised actually, because you can catch a lot of mackerel down that end as well, but everyone goes up the other end. South and West Wales, any part of Wales. I used to be on ships and we used to quite regularly call into places like Swansea and Cardiff. And when I was on smaller ships, we used to pull into some of the small fishing ports. There's some beautiful areas of Wales, absolutely gorgeous. I'd like to fish some of it. Andy Collins says he renews traces and hooks every trip. I tend to inspect my rigs, so if there's any chafe and abrasion on my hook snood, I change it. But quite regularly, because I'm using multiple traces, I'll have one for each rod and 2 or 3 spare baited up, ready to go. They're not getting used constantly throughout the session, and sometimes it might only go out for 1 or 2 chucks. So I tend to have a quick look. When I come back, everything gets washed, including my traces, in soapy water. I hang them up in the workshop and I put a weight on the hook at the bottom, and they're hung up straight. When they're dry, I tend to inspect them. I either cut and change the hook, cut, change the snood and the hook, or reclaim all the components that are reclaimable and then make a fresh trace. That's pretty much how I do it. Yeah, so Andy Collins say if you don't renew your trace and you lose a good fish, that's a very fair point, I suppose. So if you're using a significant rig and you're fishing for what you're targeting bigger species, is it really worth the risk of? Certainly, you should inspect your gear anyway, but is it really worth the risk of hooking into that one fish and then losing it? That's a hard one to answer, isn't it? Because it's a difficult one. Personally, I don't think it is. I think it's worth spending. I enjoy the preparation of my kit almost as much not quite, but almost as much as using it. And time in the workshop for me is good for the soul. It's nice, you know. It's my own space. I have my music on. It's set up how I like it. And in the winter, with the log burner on, it's just a nice place to be. In the summer, it's a bit hot. I have to creep the garage door open slightly, the up and over door, and open the side door to get a breeze going through, because it is cooking hot otherwise. Breen, yeah, fishes a lot. I've seen a couple of videos and it surprised me because the water's really chocolatey brown, and he's wading out quite far and then casting even further and then catching like sizable bass and codling in the winter and stuff like that. It looks a really interesting place to fish. Lee's talking about sorting his boat ready for Operation Skate when we get a chance. Fingers crossed. £100 plus fish, £150 plus fish is yours this year. Lee, stop teasing me. It's been killer, isn't it? So we've been on lockdown on the restrictions, and just before the restrictions kicked in, we were due to go fishing for ginormous dinosaur fish up in Scotland. Phil Carpenter, Bridging Camp, Ferry Bridge is where the Chesil Visitors Centre car... Oh, right, okay. Ferry Bridge is where the Chesil Visitors Centre car park is. I know what you mean now. Yeah, so Chris is sort of saying that he does the same sort of thing where he washes all his kit. You've seen my workshop videos, you see me out there tinkering around. It's just an excuse to be out and about, to be honest. It's not, because I like looking after my kit, but you know, there's most of my kit, even now, you'd struggle to see that it's been heavily used. It does get heavily used, not just mildly used, you know, like once every other month and stuff. It gets used a couple of times a week, and I just like to look after it. It does last longer. Andy Collins, prep is good therapy with the accompanying good music. I don't like good music. I listen to rubbish. Anyone listens to my music, they're like, what on earth is he listening to? It's, even my kids come in, they're like that. Oh, Dad, you're not listening to that stuff again, are you? Like, yeah, I like it. Good night, Wayne. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you very much for your company. I appreciate it. Hove. Fishing well at the moment, different species. Neil Blackford, Hove. Not even considered it. Not even considered it. I hadn't considered Shoreham until Nick Mann invited me to go and fish his local patch, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's nice going somewhere fresh, new, different, talking to someone that's local, rigs, bait and all that kind of stuff. I want to fish Shoreham with the Bagnall Bar, and I'm not going to keep badgering on about it, but there's certain marks that I like to fish or would like to fish. I think that's going to be absolutely killer. Troy's fishing. He's just bought a Penn Slammer. And it'll get rinsed for the first week. You're a commercial fisherman, buddy, aren't you? You got to use your gear has got to be absolutely tip-top, bulletproof strong. There's no little plastic gears and I don't know, sniggly widgets and all that stuff. It either works or it doesn't. And I would very much appreciate, and obviously you can message me or comment on here. I'm starting to do some more lure fishing for bass, and I see you using lures that get sent to you and you get recommended and you use your favourites, but you're doing this stuff all the time, aren't you? So Troy, if you've got any sort of top tips for bass lures, I've got a few. Specifically where we fish, don't know if it's the same for you, but I've got Dexter wedges, black minnows, Rapala J11S, get me. It's the only one I know because that's the one I was told to get. A Rapala J11S, which is a diving lure, which goes to exactly 7 or 8 feet and no deeper. How does it know? How does it know when it's at 8 foot? But it does, and it doesn't go anymore. And I've recently, Pinchenko surface lures, they're on order. because when I've been bass fishing recently, all my takes have been predominantly surface. And then I'll let you into a little secret. And you might not, on the channel lines, you might not have come across this one, but it's a definite near where I live. A 2-inch Dexter spoon with a strip of streaky bacon on the hook. Remember where you heard that first? It's an absolute killer where I live. A 2-inch spoon with streaky bacon on the hook. Where have they ever had bacon before? Who's feeding them bacon? Sean Wiley, just got yourself an Fish Anywhere Pro, Match Pro. Need to test it out on smooth hounds. Are you asking where to go, or are you asking, because I've lost track of what that conversation was now, is that because you're going to take it down to Chesil and try for the hounds? Because anywhere on the Solent at the moment is showing hounds. I had tiny hounds at my local water, which is estuary, and we were catching small hounds there. East or west specifically, you tend to get the larger hounds, but anywhere along the Solent, Hillhead is a particular good one at the moment. There's hounds everywhere at the moment. In fact, there was quite a disturbing video footage put up of a load of bycatch that had been discarded near where I live, and there was 20 or 30 some sizable hounds all washed up on the beach, and they'd all been caught in one net and discarded. That was a bit upsetting, that was. I didn't like seeing that. Right, yeah, so I'm not going to call you Lasagna. That's not right. What about ray areas such as Selsey East and going east to Pagham, Aldwych? Selsey, East Beach, is a good ray mark as far as I understand it. Selsey West Beach in front of the caravan park is a good hound mark as I understand it. Happy to be corrected. We catch hounds all along the south coast at the moment. So Troy saying surface lures work at the moment. I was really excited, seriously, and I'll paint a little picture now. I'm in my little inflatable boat, think someone in their water wings, rowing, little outboard, and I've gone out, and I know where the bass are, because I used to fish the area when I was younger, and we used to go out in the boat and all that kind of stuff. And I went to an area where I sort of guessed there might be some bass, and I started trawling, or trolling, with the lure, minimal throttle. It was diving, and I was thinking, you know, watch rod tip, trawl up and around all these little coves and stuff. And after about an hour or so, I'd had absolutely nothing. I was a little bit disappointed, because I thought, even if I caught little schoolies and stuff like that, there's something there. I knew they were there, I just wasn't catching them. And I had this fancy Rapala lure on that was a diving with a bib on the front where it dives and wobbles around. And I backed off the throttle to idle while I was just going to stop and think. And as my lure flopped up to the surface and popped out and splashed, I watched this big shape come up underneath it, mouth it and go back down again. And my heart stopped. I was like, that's what... They're not hunting down low. They're looking for silhouettes up high. I then spent the rest of the afternoon trawling and stopping, casting, and just popping this diving lure, which was quite hard to do it, because that's the only one I had with me at the time. And every time it was splashing and darting around, I could see the shapes under the water coming up. And sometimes they were just looking, thinking, what's he doing, just smashing that thing around? You need some proper surface lures, mate. I'm not taking that. But I had a few takes and I caught some fish. Really exciting fishing, especially when you see the shape come up behind. It's really good. I was really excited. Alan says you can get hounds in Weymouth Harbour. You can get big congers as well when they gut and chuck the fish. A fish head on a big hook over the side. Big conger. Chris, you're off. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, buddy. It's nice to spend time with you, as always. Savage Gear Seekers, they're brilliant and similar to Toby's. I don't know who Toby is. I know what you're saying. Yeah, okay, so just got some pirate lures, but haven't been out with them yet. Yeah, so Chris Carew's got some pirate lures. I'll have a look at those. What are they then? What pirate lures? I don't. Is that a brand or a make? You can spend a lot of money. I've been talking or asking questions, and he's been very kindly responding to the saltwater angler. Yeah, who does a lot of bass lure fishing. Very helpful guy. His videos, right? So he's another guy like Stu. He's got all that cinematic feeling and stuff going on in his videos. Really clever. I don't know how they do it. They must think like a filming person. I don't know. Next competition idea. Name the boat. I haven't mentioned the next competition, have I? It's probably a little bit early to mention the next competition, so I'll tease you a little bit. But there's going to be one next month. So there'll be a July one, and it will be that same sort of format where it will start mid-month next month. So you've got 2 weeks to wait. There'll be a video, either a review or a live release. Like, subscribe, like if you like, don't if you don't. Subscribe, type win, or I might mix it up and put in a different word just to see if you've checked. I don't know. That's a good idea actually. I might not put win on for the next one, see who we can catch out. We could do two things, couldn't we? We could do the winners and the ones who would have won if they had put the right word in. I don't know. That's a bit cruel, isn't it? Let's have a drink. Feeding on whitebait near the surface at the moment, later mackerel sand. So I'm guessing that is why my silver whitish lure was working well. And as you say, Troy, if later on they're going to be feeding on sand eel mackerel, then I'll need to change the colour of the lure, like a bluey green, I don't know, something like that. Flippy floppy tail. When I get my boat, and I am going to get a boat, just not yet. So it's not a strategy, that's the wrong word, because that sounds really bad. The idea for the channel is it's always going to be shore angling. Now I've got my little sib, my little inflatable boat. Then I'm going to buy a bigger boat. I'm going to get a bigger rod. So not this year, possibly next year. A trailerable boat. And then there's a thought process of after that, and that will be somewhere between 16 and 18 foot with between a 50 and a 90 outboard. Put a lot of thought into it. I even know what brand I want. So it's possibly next year that size boat, and the van is rated to tow. It's a 3.5 ton rated van, so the fishing wagon can pretty much pull a house if need be, as long as it's on wheels. And then it's a decision whether we go full berthed, because I've got the opportunity, ex forces of not subsidised but a cheaper berth, or large trailerable boat, because I've got the room to keep it. And I don't mean that in any way strange either. I've just got driveway space that I could keep a boat on at home. It reduces the cost, and I think a lot of people would be interested in that sort of format where there's minimal cost, self-maintained, fixed, repaired, serviced, all those things, upgraded, changed, structurally changed even if need be. I'm more than capable of all those kind of jobs. Manufacturing stuff, stainless steel, aluminium, all of that, you know, there could be quite large scale projects for what could ultimately turn out to be something quite nice, I suppose is the way to put it. But it's not going to happen overnight, and I don't want to rush into it. It would have been quite easy to start the channel, buy a boat, go out on a boat. I like shore angling. I like the whole soulful aspect of it. Time spent on the beach for me is good for me. High pressure, stressful job. Go fishing. It's a good combination. Merry Fisher or Arbor? I'm thinking Warrior 165 to start with, possibly 175 depending on budget and spec. So a Warrior 165, good galvanised trailer, nice Suzuki outboard, something like that, or a 175, which is quite a significantly different shape, same format, different shape, with maybe a 90 power trim and tilt outboard on the back. Both of those are high on my wish list, closely followed by things after that that could be a little bit different, but different in size and different in budget. So as a little teaser, that's where I was thinking. Warrior 165, 175, 60 to 90 power trim and tilt outboard. I understand going a smaller engine, economy and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to spend 2-3 hours getting out to the wreck marks. And that's not because you're going to go sprinting. You get the boat up on the plane, throttle back, 2/3 throttle, do your fuel chart, see where your engine's the most economical, and that's where you go. So Chris is talking about the Eastbourne fishermen, and Uploads talking about lures. There's a lot of lure fishing going on. We're in summer. I went and collected a load of crabs. Yeah, I'm losing track of what day it is. Yesterday. So I went and did my normal trick of, I've got 3 nets, crab nets, put fish heads and tails in the bottom, lower them over the side, like a kid fishing for crabs, and I fill my bucket up, and then afterwards I filter through them all. So I ditch all the small stuff, all the stuff that's too big for hound fishing, and that is possible, especially for hardback. And I like to keep them smaller than the size of my fist, and if they get too small, you know, that sort of size, then they get discarded and back in the water. I don't just catch them and throw them back in, because what you do is you just catch them multiple times. Catch them all in a session, when you're finished, discard. And I ended up with 60, and I've frozen them. So I've frozen them in bags of 10, and I used 20 on a fishing session, and the hounds don't care if they're frozen or not. If anything, when they're frozen, they're not trying to nip you, and it's a bit kinder when you have to take the 2 back legs off, because they've been dispatched kindly in the freezer. So that's what I was doing yesterday. Got myself a load of bait. Andy Collins is possibly looking at a boat. Good luck with that, Andy. Let us know how you get on, seriously, because it's an exciting thing. They say there's only 2 times you're happy when owning a boat: when you buy it, when you sell it, because it costs a lot of money in between. My goal is to have a boat and spend what I have to spend, but I'm more than capable of doing most of it myself. And Troy's just commenting, he's fished far more shore than boat. I've seen you shore fishing, Troy, seriously, and I've got a lot of respect for you. I enjoy watching your videos, and I don't say that in a patronising way. I enjoy watching your boat videos, but when I watched your shore angling, when you've done it and you've put it on your channel, I love the way that you've scaled everything back to quality and minimal, and you catch really good stuff. I just love that aspect of you've taken away all the surplus, and everything you've done has been done very well, and I think a lot of us could learn a lot from that. I learn a lot from carp fishing guys, because they focus on every tiny little element of what they do, because every little element adds up, you know, to an end result. Me personally, as a sea angler, shore predominantly, we just smash everything together and get it out. You know, there's a bait out there overhooking it, but we don't tend to. We don't concentrate on the detail, I think, is it? And it's very clear from your shore angling that I've seen that you've concentrated on the detail, and you've really minimised failure points, snagging points. I like it. I really do. I really like watching it. I think you should do more. I genuinely think you should do more. Orkney, Andy Cummins, an Orkney with a 30 on the back. A very efficient, good, loads of deck space. I've considered it myself, seriously. I've really considered it myself. I know John Locker uses, is that what John Locker uses, with a 30 on the back? And other people have got them. Amazing boats. And I've even looked online and I've found new or nearly, they all tend to be up in Scotland. I suppose the clue's in the name. but there's some crackers with like all rigged out with fish finders and radios and all the rest of it on lovely trailers, and you just think, oh, I've got to trailer it from like right up in the stretches of Scotland. Got a trailer. I suppose if you're willing to travel and go and collect it, it wouldn't be a problem. A nice package size boat to fish pretty much anywhere. I think the Orkneys are good boats. I do like them. Lucky Very, good boat to pick. Yeah. Does that mean the Orkney or does that mean the Warrior? I'm sure that's probably for the Orkney. Orkneys are cracking boats. Genuinely, they are cracking boats. Have I looked at robust boats? I hope all boats are robust, Alan. Are you playing with me now? I hope they're all robust. I wouldn't want to go out there and it just like be made of paper mache and just like wibble wobble and fall apart and the outboard sink and the oars disappear. That would be a bad day, wouldn't it? Wilson Flyer. Right, we're talking boats a lot now. Obviously it sparks some interest, doesn't it? Wilson Flyer. Cracking boat. I know someone very famous uses one. They slam and crash and bang a lot. And then when you're at anchor, they're very stable, but you get a lot of hull slap. And the reason why I know all this, because we used to have one years ago, but they're very capable, but you get one of those in a choppy sea, and they bang and they crash, and they, once they're up on the plane, they're skipping, and it's fairly light seas, brilliant boat, and on a calm day at anchor, you can walk to the corners of it, and the thing doesn't move, and it's very stable. But you get a lot of hull bang and crash from one of those. So Troy used to put all the extra bits and make everything all fancy rigs, and I hope I don't come across as a fancy rig maker. I used to just fish with a running ledger. Everything I caught as a kid, I thought a paternoster was a posh rig. I genuinely thought, because a running ledger, I just used to feed my line through the eye of the weight, tie a bead on, or a twig, or anything else to stop the weight from coming too far down, leave a bit, and like granny hitch a hook on, bait it up and throw it out. And we used to catch fish as kids like that all the time. But no, I know what you're saying, Troy. It's good stuff. Not playing there. Very strong boats, robust being the brand name. I'll look at robust boats then, Alan, on your recommend. I've never heard of one before, but I'm quite happy to be educated and have a look. Guys, I'm not being rude, but we're getting on for an hour now. We've picked our winner for this month, and for Gary, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits, blown away. I look forward to contact with you. We have got a second in case Gary doesn't show. But I'll put it up on the community tab. I'll put it on my Facebook and my Instagram as well, just to make sure that they know that they've actually won. And I look forward to placing the order. I'll place the order as soon as I've got their personal details. Andy Collins, bins to put out, things to do. I've got to do a car shuffle. I've got to move the fishing wagon out, move my car out, put the fishing wagon back, put my car back, shuffle the bins, and put some stuff in the workshop. That's my Sunday. And then early to bed, because I've got to get up for work in the morning. So, Andy Collins, thanks for joining us, buddy. Really appreciate your company. Neil, have a good week at work. Forward to the next time. Alan, good night. Nick Mann, good night. Fellas, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your company. I hope you all have a really nice sunny summer's week. Get out, go fishing, let us know all about it, let us know what you've caught, and I look forward to spending some time with you soon. Take care, tight lines, happy fishing, and I'll speak to you sometime soon. Bye for now.